Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today's the start of a new build, and this build idea actually comes from a subscriber. Agent Foxman has been leaving some nice comments throughout the months, and he's suggested a few times I build a bunker. Let me just share with you what he suggested. Have you thought about building a hidden house or bunker build? Maybe have a car or a plank of wood metal container hiding the entrance. P.S. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Agent Foxman. In subsequent comments, he's also mentioned a scrap element, maybe a scrapyard or something like that. I've tried to incorporate that here. I am actually at the scrap palace, and I thought about building it here, but then I thought, okay, if I build it exactly in this location, I might have to work with cells. So you'd open the door and it would load up a new cell, and then you'd be inside the bunker. And I kind of didn't want to do that on this build. So apologies, Agent Foxman, on that element of the build. Maybe we can do that another time. But for now, I'm just going to focus on the whole bunker idea with a hidden entrance. And I'm actually going to build it just across the road. Over here we have this cliff, which gives us a nice starting point. Because if you look down there, we've got plenty of room to build downwards and then just extend our cliff outwards to try and hide our bunker. That's kind of how I'm thinking I want to do it. And that way I don't have to deal with loading up new cells and just doing it that way. I've done it before in previous videos, and I just want to have kind of a break of that. But as I said, the whole scrap element we can maybe tackle another time. But for now, let's get into this. Okay, and first things first, I need to clear some space for our bunker, the lower level. Now I'm going to try and use as little mods as possible. So if you can't delete some of this sort of stuff, you could try and download the scrap everything mod. It's quite good to clear this sort of miscellaneous junk. Okay, so that's most of it cleared. I'm going to extend the rocks out to there and have sort of like an empty space in the middle. And the mod I'm going to use for that is static objects and buildings. This is a great mod. It sort of covers a whole bunch of stuff. Clutter, furniture, as you can see. We got industrial pieces. We even got modular building signs, vehicles even. The one I'm interested in is this landscape tab. You can see we've got a whole bunch of different sort of assets like this. And let me just quickly show you how it can kind of work. So if I just plonk that one down like that, I'm not going to use this because it's a little bit too big. But you can see we have a nice sort of front fascia area here. But then if you go around the back, it's all just like a one faced piece. So there's basically nothing there. You can sort of come down here and you got plenty of rooms for activities. And it doesn't really do anything until you go past the actual front face of it. And then you can't really go back inside. So that's how I'm going to try and hide our bunker. But as I said, this piece is a little bit too big, so I'm going to try and choose a piece that's more similar to that rock there. And we can go through our menus here and find the piece that we want. And it might actually be in this tab here, the rock tab. Anyway, I will place that down and I'll see you in a minute. And with the magic of television, this is what we have. So I managed to find the same kind of rocks as the original cliff face, and I've just extended it out basically to the water. And I did actually add that little cliffy piece there, but I probably need to clean it up a little bit, and it looks a little bit funky. And I also found some trees and bushes from the same part of the mod, the landscape in static objects and buildings, just to sort of integrate it a little bit nicer into our surroundings. And I also put some around on the top of the rock as well. Now, let's see what we have to play with in terms of space. If I just jump down here, we can come over here, and you can see we have a gap in the rock. So this is where our entrance is going to go. So I would assume that the car would sort of sit on top of this hole here, and then obviously have a door or something to get into the base itself, the bunker. And I've just used some of these kind of half pieces, half wall pieces to sort of indicate some kind of ladder shaft thing. And if we just jump down, now our ladder mod is called climbable ladders, and it comes with these sweet animations. I love this mod. Now my ladder wasn't tall enough to sort of go from the ground to all the way to the top, so I've just done a double decker type thing, and that floor is kind of temporary. I might keep it, but I might just hide it behind some more wood pieces, because we are going to fill in this area. It is going to be enclosed, so imagine basically a home or something down here. You can kind of see the space we're working with where the grass is. It kind of indicates the maximum area, and this piece here kind of around this, because otherwise you get this sort of stuff where the, you know, some of the edges come through the walls, so we have to be a little bit careful. But that's where we are right now, and I can just go out this way, but I can't go back in once I have come out of the rock. See, so people can't actually wander into it. They have to actually come through the original entrance. But because I don't have a ladder sort of going up to the very top, I have to do it this way. So I would imagine the car's sitting there because we actually have a gap in the barrier here. So it kind of does look like, you know, a car has hit this or something and rolled or something and kind of ended up over here. I think the next step is trying to integrate our vehicle into the entrance to make it look legit. Okay, so I have finished off the entranceway. You can see our vehicle is parked over there in a kind of a funny angle. Now, I think the original request was to basically have a car covering the entrance, but then a sort of animated bonnet door, and then you sort of climb down into there. Now, unfortunately, I did not find an animated bonnet door, and I couldn't find a door that really kind of looked good as a bonnet. So I've tried to sort of improvise here. Hopefully that is okay. Now the CVC did Wastelands mod. It has a whole bunch of these sort of static kind of vehicles and things. I tried to find a vehicle that had sort of the biggest opening I could find, and this is basically what I came up with. Now we do have some others here, but I think that one just sort of was the best fit. I thought about doing something like this, but then you have to contend with the front area up there. So I just landed on this, and I just used the place everywhere mod to rotate it 90 degrees into this kind of position here. And then as you can see there, I've just chucked a metal door on the top there. It doesn't look so good from up here, but I think when you're like this, it's not very obvious. So it's basically there to keep the rain from going down our ladder shaft thing. And I just chucked some random scrap barrels there just so you can actually kind of climb up there. And I put them on this side because I didn't want it to be obvious from the roadside that there is any entrance there, because I think if it was like that, then it's kind of obvious. Now I will jump down here and just climb up, and if we open it up, it does look a little bit goofy, but we have our ladder poking out there, and if we sort of look down, it is still very tight, but you can see there our shaft is sort of complete going down to that second level that we had before. Now when you actually do the climbing animation, it is a bit goofy. You do have clipping, the character doesn't do it so smoothly, but it's sort of one of those things we just have to live with. I think it's still cool, so I'm just going to run with it. Now the next part is I need to finish our actual sort of base structure at the bottom of our bunker. So that's the next step, and I'll just quickly finish it off because I have started, and then I'll show you how the whole sort of entranceway works. So I'll do that now. And this is what we ended up with. Now I am using a lot of the vanilla pieces. I do have a sort of texture pack on, that's why it looks a little bit different. And I've just sort of interlaced some Woody's Wasteland stuff on top, just to give it a little bit of variety. And this is what the sort of floor plan looks like. And if you're wondering why it's this shape, it's basically as far as I could go without the kind of rocks and the cliffside sort of coming into our space. So that's why it's a little bit of an interesting kind of look here. And you might have noticed we do have some sort of sunlight poking through. That's just the nature of using those sort of single-faced cliff pieces, but I can deal with that. But let me show you the entranceway here. If we poke our head up through there, you can see we have a closet door. I just sort of chucked that in there because I wanted to sort of make sure that we didn't have epic amounts of rain coming down here. So we just open that one up, and then we can climb up our ladder. So you probably see my character's eyes when it sort of clips through when the camera clips through, I mean. and that's sort of looking up to the sky. And then let's go up our second ladder. There you go, get a bit of a freakiness. Up through the car. And unfortunately we do clip through the door. So I could remove it and then we wouldn't have the issue. But yeah, I do want to keep it because, again, if I can close it, it's all encompassing. There's that sort of security element. And if I switch it to this side, which I did do before, you can see it more obviously from the other side. So I just decided to put it here and just deal with the clipping. But that's basically the bones of the bunker. And the next step is I did want to actually add a water feature, because I was thinking, okay, how are we going to do sort of water and power and things? And I might negate the power. I might use sort of like flame instead, just for lighting and things. But if we just go down, I was sort of worried about this sort of whole water situation. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do for that. Oh, our door's already open. Okay, so we are inside a rock, a cliff. So I thought, okay, if the person's down here making a bunker, then there must have been some kind of like gap or hole in the rock to begin with. And what sort of makes that in the real world? Well, it's water flow, you know, the water, the rain, little streams and waterfalls and things sort of digging into the rock. So I'm going to incorporate a little bit of that into the sort of lower bunker piece. I have decided to delete these walls and have kind of like a hidden spring down here that runs underneath the floorboards here. So let's get into that. Now, I haven't shown you how I sort of built the whole rest of it, because I think it's fairly straightforward. If you have the mods, you know, you can kind of see what I did. But I decided I might show this part because it is a little bit kind of different. So let's just delete some of these walls here. And I'm going to delete this floor. I'm probably going to do it in sort of this corner here. I am going to jump into CVC because we do have some rocks in there. If you go to Deadlands, and then at the end here we've got rocks. And I just want to find some nice rocks that might work. Yeah, I might stick with this kind of theme here. So firstly, I need to enclose this area a little bit. So I'm just going to do it up to our wall here. And just rotate it. Now if there's any gaps, I'll just fill them in with like little bits of wood or something. Try not to clip too much. Actually, you know what? I might rotate this a little bit more just so we have a little bit more space. If I can get sort of a little bit closer to that grassy area over there, that'll be good. And I'm just alternating through some of these rocks just to get a bit of variety. So this is going to be kind of a water source, and I do intend to have kind of like flowing water. So I guess our character could probably use it for a bath of some description as well if they needed to. Does that actually have a floor? It doesn't, so I can't use that one. Just got to make sure that they're have a base, because I don't want to have that sort of weirdness. I'll actually reuse that one. It's got a nice flat bit. This one too. So I'm trying to push that idea that the water has sort of slowly dug its way through the rock and created a nice little spring here. Kind of need a flat face. Does this have a flat? Guess that bit is okay. Something like that. Just need a little one now just to sort of fill in some of these gaps. I might put some wood actually around the place just to finish it off. Try and get a bit more space. Okay. think that's okay for us. Now you can see we've got a hill, so if we put some water down there, then it's going to be kind of above our actual floor. So I'm kind of insinuating that it is a pool, but there is some kind of drain effect, maybe down this corner or something. But I'm not going to actually put that in. I'm just going to sort of fake it. So for the water effect itself, we're going to go out to our structures tab, and the mod I'm going to use is SOE, Settlement Object Expanded. I believe that's called the full name. But if you just do SOE Nexus, it should come up. And if you go to the end here, we've got this pool tab. You click on that one and click on water. And I'm going to go for the medium. Turn off the snapping so we don't have that. Now this water is meant to be kind of quite nice water because it's going to be filtered by our rocks and things. So let's just go through and see what we have. It's kind of decent. I might actually use that one. And I just want to bring it up just so it's above our grass. I don't want to have the grass too visible, like something like that. And try and bring it to the edge, I guess. Like that. Now it looks a little bit funky. We have it sort of floating like that. But that's okay. We're going to finish that one out. And just to finish it off here, we've got the waterfall effect. But it's not... I'm trying to move it, but it's not coming out. Let's just go above. And just see what we're playing with here. Come on out. Let me out. Okay, so this large one is probably what I'm going to use because the water flow is quite slow. Because if I do a medium and a faster, you can see there it just gets faster and faster. The small one is even faster than that, so we're just going to do that. And I'm just going to shrink it down so our large waterfall is actually going to be a small waterfall. But it's the speed that I'm sort of more interested in. And can I go back down? Here we go. Got a little bit of space to sort of move about. If you're wondering how I'm flying around, it's a mod called Workshop Plus. Now you could probably do that without doing having the flying effect, but just for the sake of speed and stuff, that's why I'm using it. And I'm just gonna, we have that sort of natural little gap there. I'm just going to use that as our area to hide our waterfall. Oh, don't do that. Okay, so it kind of looks like the water is sort of found its way through the rock and filling up this pool, and it's draining down there somewhere. But obviously we have this sitting water here, so now we need to encapsulate it. Now I'm going to go to CVC, Dead Wastelands again. And if we go to decorations, oh, not action figures, oh sorry, faction figures. We're going to go over to space deco here. And go to the very end, well not the very end, but the second to last one here, external. And we got cinder blocks, but I'm going to go a little bit more natural looking. So I'm just going to go to the end of this tab. Some great pieces here. And they have these kind of blocks. So this is what I'm going to use to sort of finish out our sort of little pool thing here. I'm going to place them all kind of manually. So make sure I'm sort of tucked up against that rock there. And I'm just going to rotate it just so we have a little bit of a different texture. And to be honest, I might actually bring it kind of low, so we're not too far off the water there. I'm going to make sure I'm into the rock there. Not clipping too much. Okay, I'll just get this single one now, just to sort of finish it up. Like so. Okay, so that's sort of encapsulating our pool. Oh, that's a little bit too low, I think. So our character can kind of use this as a little bath or even drinking water. Maybe we'll put some cups and things around the place, and we can even add some little plants because this is kind of a prime spot for that. So we can go back to static objects and buildings where we found our original rocks. And let's go landscape here. And just see what we've got for some plants. We could put a blood leaf in there. It's kind of interesting. And do we have fungi? What a fungi. Flowers. Oh, yep, we got some clusters here. Because it's kind of a damp, cold little spot. I don't know if you'd find them actually in the water, but we're just going to run with it. I get some smaller ones growing on the rocks here. Anything else? Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, look at that. Nice. Just to add a little bit of interest there. I don't know if that water would be poisoned by having all these mushrooms and things, but yep, I'm happy with that. I'll put some cups and things and yeah, maybe some soap or something. Very good. Alrighty, so the next step is we need to figure out what we're going to do with this space here. I'm guessing that's probably going to be the bedroom. Living room area. Kitchen. Actually, the kitchen might have to be over here because I do want to run... I want to have like a burning stove. And of course we need a chimney. So I need to figure out how that's going to work. Okay, I'm going to do that that'll be the next thing. Okay, I think I found something that might work. So we're in the Woody's Wasteland stuff here, and in the decorations tab, it does have a barrel fireplace. This is great because it kind of doubles as heating as well as cooking. So you can see here we got some great assets to start building. So this is our actual fireplace here. It does provide lighting as well. But let's start off with, if we do the brick base. So I'm going to put this guy down. Now with our pipage, I'm going to do it into the wall and then just sort of insinuate that it's going up on the outside of our shaft, going up to the top, and then I'll stick a chimney out the top. Obviously you wouldn't run it unless it was nighttime, I guess, if you're trying to be incognito. But we're going to stick with it. So if I chuck that one there, make it sure it's kind of lined up. Now I'm doing it on this side because I want it as close as I can to the shaft to get up to the top there. So it is quite close to the ladder. Definitely don't want to fall off the ladder onto the hot stove. And the great thing about it is it actually snaps. So if I turn the snapping back on, there we go. And I just want like another little piece, and then I'll go into the wall there. Do we have another little piece? Maybe we don't. Okay, let's do... We might not even need that. If we can... Okay, we might need it. We do have a 90 degree, but I kind of like the look of that sort of angled piece. Doesn't want to do it. So I'm going to turn the snapping off, and I'm going to freehand it. Just want that little bit of a 90 degree look. And if I can just move it out slightly from the wall so we get a nice look to it. Actually, I might just be able to hide it. Okay, yeah, I think I'll do that. Let me just move this out of the way. I'm going to turn snapping back on. And let's just do it properly. Not like that! Good grief. Do we have like a skinnier... Is this the one? Okay, that might work for us. There we go. Okay, it is obviously in the ground, but I can just raise it up again. Like so. Alrighty, so that's going into the wall, and behind the wall And if we just go up to the top here, I just need to have it sort of coming out maybe in this area. Okay. Come on. And then get our tall piece. We are very tight for space here. Now I gotta be careful because I need to probably aim for that little corner piece there. Oh, that sorry. I'm aiming for that little gap there because we have a door that basically closes in on everything. So I might need to do some custom work here because I'm not sure that's going to work for us. Rotate. Okay. Let's do it manually. Oh, that's good because I can kind of get the right angle as well. Okay. Let me out! I'm stuck. Okay, we're free. Where's our pipe? Right there. I'm gonna get through this gap. Is that too long for us? We have a shorter one. We do indeed. Okay. So that's as close, basically, as close as we can get without clipping too much. So what I'll do is I'll just customize it here and then I'll go back inside and do it properly. So I'm just trying to hide the pipe behind our car here. Well, actually the top might be a little bit too exposed. Where is it? This one. Oh, it's not too bad. Obviously, I've got the smoke on because I just want to show the sort of finished product. But if you're trying to hide, then it wouldn't be as obvious. You'd sort of probably do it at night time or something. And you probably wouldn't see any light from it too because the pipe is so long. But to be honest, it's not too bad. Once that door's closed, you won't see anything but that little bit of smoke coming through. Okay, let's fix it on the inside. Okay, we're a little bit tight for space, but I'm just gonna try and get this pipe as close as possible. Just need a very... do we have any even shorter piece? No. Just need a very short piece. It is quite long, but we're going to have to run with it. It's going to be clipping pretty hardcore, but it's the way it goes sometimes. No, I can't move that pipe, that's right, because that's basically as far as we can go. But to be honest, it's not too bad. It's through the wall, sorry, through the gap there, down there, into the wall, and then out this end here. I think that looks kind of believable. Now I also have to be cognizant of the fact that we are limited with the amount of space we have to actually get stuff down here. So this barrel is probably about as big as we can get through this kind of gap here. Can't imagine, even the top doesn't look like it could probably fit. So I gotta choose furniture that is around about the same size as this, or custom make it, because the character could sort of chuck wood and stuff down here and then sort of string something together. But that'll be the next step, is getting furniture in here. So let's do that now. Well, the interior is now complete and I can show you what it looks like. So if we spin around here, I've closed the door. So as I said before, when it's on this side, you can't really tell that there's something there apart from obviously that smoke coming out. And then come around this side, open it up, jump up here, select our ladder. This is probably the goofiest movement. with the clipping and everything. And then we open up our closet doors and go the rest of the way down. Alrighty, and this is how it turned out. Let's start off over here. So this is obviously our burner, and then I just put in kind of a simple kitchen. Just trying to get pieces that might fit in our entranceway here. I think the shelving unit here is probably one of the bigger pieces to get down here, but I think it's probably feasible if you kind of force it, kick it, or whatever. We have kind of like a cobbled together partition. We got another bookshelf over here. We have a table and bench set up. Now these particular pieces are quite large, but I chose this particular style because it looks like you probably could fashion it together using the planks of wood. So I'm going to say that whoever made this just chucked the materials down through the hole and built it in here. So obviously these pieces of furniture would stay here. If I spin around, we got kind of like a little bean sort of growing in the corner there, something to read here, and we have this little guy over here. Now it is a seabird, but I'm going to say it's canary because, you know, we have an enclosed space with fires burning and things, so carbon monoxide, you got to be careful. If you're wondering about what specific pieces I'm using, these are all from the CVC Dead Wastelands mod. The partition is from the Kuro tab. The tables and everything are from the CVC. This guy here is from the Woody's Wasteland, the same as this burner thing. Over here we have a kind of like a hangout living room spot with some CVC pieces all cobbled together. So this is all CVC, more CVC, little shelf unit there. This little thing is from the Kuro tab. It's like a shotgun by the door. Very good. More CVC stuff. So the bed is CVC, all this as well. Obviously that's just your sort of standard decoration. And I just put sort of like, again, stuff that could possibly be cobbled together inside the actual settlement itself. And then I guess you squeeze the mattress through the door. Over here we have a bathtub from the Woody's Wasteland workshop. Oh, sorry, Woody's Wasteland stuff. And I did actually check, the bath does fit exactly through our sort of car opening space. And then I guess if you turn it around the other way and sort of go long ways, then it will fit through the door. So I'm going to say that that actually works. And we have like an enclosed curtain space. Not that, you know, you'd probably be in here by yourself, so not that you really need it. And I did actually put a pipe, again from the Woody's Wasteland stuff, through the bricks here to fill up the bath. It is just below the water line, so it's gravity fed. You just turn the tap there, and then again you got the pipe going into the floor, the same area where the little pool here drains as well. Now I did have a solution for that on the outside, and I'll show you that soon. But we have a little bucket here and a cup to get fresh water from our pool for cooking and whatnot. We have a hanging plant here, again from the Woody's Wasteland stuff. And I think that is basically it. I don't think there's any other mods that I can think of that I used different. The lighting is all from the CVC mod as well. So there's kind of like 2 or 3 main interior mods that I'm using. But I've used them sort of throughout the whole build as well. So let's take a look from the outside, and I'll talk about the sort of outlet for that pool. So again, make our way up the ladders here. All the doors are conveniently open. I just love the animation for these climbable ladders. Very good. So if we make our way down the rocks here, you can see what I've done over here. So this is our outlet. So the water inside our sort of cliff has found its way through, and then we're kind of utilizing it in our settlement or our little sort of player home. And then this is the actual natural outlet. So we're just sort of damming it inside the settlement there. And then this is sort of where it ends up. And I think I'm going to be attacked. There's a dog coming for me. Okay, again I'm just using the SOE pool assets, the water assets. I just spun the waterfall around just so it's on a different angle, and then just put a sort of goofy splash effect where that rock is. So yeah, just using those same mods as I'd already used to sort of create this thing in the beginning. I also did spin slightly this dirt so it didn't just end exactly there. You can see kind of it's right there, but I did put some sand and stuff down again from that same mod. Now before we finish up, I will just quickly delete this cliff face and just see what it looks like if we have sort of x-ray vision. Well, I have removed the front of our bunker, and that's quite an interesting kind of look. I might actually use that for my thumbnail because that is pretty funky in a good way. But it kind of shows you exactly the sort of space I've utilized within the cliff face there. It is a pretty cool view, to be honest. So yeah, I probably could have gone really hardcore and really done sort of like the legit waterfall sort of going through the rocks and coming out there, but obviously it's all behind walls and things, so you probably wouldn't see it anyway. Maybe little gaps in the floor, possibly if you're being super pedantic. But let me just put the cliff back to the way it was. Well guys, I think I'll wrap this one up. Thank you so much to Agent Foxman for the video idea. I know I didn't completely fulfill the brief 100%, but hope you're happy with that one. And if you guys did enjoy this one, please drop us a like and a subscription if you are feeling extra generous. Now, if you want to share your own video ideas, jump over to the Jabba Games Discord. You can find a link on the main channel page there. You can share your own Fallout 4 stuff, give me video ideas, and just get involved with the community. With all that said, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Have a great day.